Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hydroponics Daily, the go-to podcast for everything soilless cultivation. I'm your host, Dr. Russell Sharp, and today we're talking about Ferris wheel hydroponic systems. And this is because there's a company called Dyson in the UK. You will know them, if you know them, from their vacuum cleaners. They also do hairdryers. They also do LED lights that are marketed for people in Australia, because they're good in high temperatures. But they started off doing wheelbarrows, so very agricultural, horticultural. And they went from the wheelbarrow to vacuum cleaners you'll notice on a lot of Dyson vacuum cleaners, they have a ball rather than two wheels. And that's inspired by their wheelbarrow that they invented. And anyway, James Dyson, who owns Dyson, made a lot of money, billionaire. One of Britain's richest men, not the richest. That's the guy who owns Manchester United. What's his name? Anyway, it's not him. He owns Ineos. Dyson is a very rich company, and they've bought a lot of farmland. And it went by a number of names. It's now Dyson Farming, and a bit like Bill Gates owns a lot of farmland. However, James Dyson is using the farmland to innovate in agriculture and horticulture. So a lot of people thought it was a way of getting around inheritance tax, but he is doing a lot of good. He's promoting very innovative ways of growing plants. And one of their big plays is Dyson strawberries. And I think this is a fantastic play because the word Dyson and the branding is synonymous with high-end premium engineering and technology. And so if you saw the Dyson brand on some strawberries, you knew you would associate that with these must be really good strawberries. So it's the one brand in horticulture that could really justify a premium on it. And if you went into two supermarkets in the UK, Marks and Spencer's or Waitrose, these are the top of the top. If those customers saw Dyson on it, these are the sort of customers who would have Dyson vacuum cleaners and hairdryers and things like this, and they would definitely buy it. They would definitely pay more for the Dyson brand. So they could justify growing hydroponically, and obviously James Dyson wants to grow strawberries for Christmas. So as I've said in the past, traditionally that has been the license to print money if you can grow strawberries for Christmas. So how is this Ferris wheel? I talked about this. We're going to go talk about Ferris wheel cultivation, and they've set up this system that's about the size of 2 double-decker buses, London buses, and it's a really interesting technology. And I think it was in stealth mode for a number of until like this week. So there've been no pictures of this system that I've seen, and I would have seen them because obviously I'm Googling hydroponics every day. So they've got this Ferris wheel style vertical growing system where the NFT trays, the gullies, are on a rack, and this rack circulates extremely slowly in the large greenhouse. And inside the Ferris wheel, in the wheel, are supplementary lights. So inside there. And this is a really good system because it allows the plants at the top to get sunlight, and any of the under leaves, you get under canopy illumination from the lights inside the wheel. And so when it's darker outside and sunlight goes away, as it will in the UK, especially in the winter when it's cloudy, which it is a lot of the time, you could just increase the intensity of those lights. And so the lights don't even have to be positioned at the top of the greenhouse. And so you're not shading the plants with the lights, because that's one of the big problems with supplementary lighting in greenhouses is that you're always shading the plants. With this Ferris system, none of the plants are getting shaded by the lights. They're always if the lights are on, they're supplementing it, and the lights are off, it's inconsequential. It also means that you can make use of more of the glasshouse space. And with a large, what we call Venlo greenhouses, these really tall greenhouses, they're designed for tomatoes and cucumbers, and obviously they grow up as vines, and so they make use of the space much more. Strawberries, you still want to grow in a Venlo greenhouse, even though they are much shorter, maybe only a foot tall or 30 centimeters tall. The reason you want to grow them in a Venlo type greenhouse is because they're much more efficient for heating and for CO2 addition. And so you're always still going to have that space, so you might as well make use of it. And this Ferris wheel system of these continually moving racks makes good use of that space. You can fit more plants in there. And so, yeah, it's very interesting. And the question is, does the extra engineering justify the cost? And Dyson have claimed that this system, combined with CO2 enrichment and their other technology, which we'll talk about later, has led to a staggering 250% increase in yield. So that's not just one bit of the technology that's leading to that. It's all the things combined is leading to a 250% increase in yield, which for a high value crop is massive. So for the same amount of land use area. Okay, so their farm's based in Lincolnshire in the UK, which is traditionally fenland. It's very flat. It's where most of the vegetables in the UK are grown. It's not a big strawberry growing area though, so that's interesting. So the structure is 5.5 meters tall, and 1.2 million strawberry plants are mounted on the rotating trays, and they rotate very slowly. As you said, it's LED lights. It's basically a way of growing. It's a vertical farming system that involves a wheel-based system rather than a racking system. And these have existed in other areas. They haven't invented this system. It's not like they're the first person to ever do it, first people to ever do it. But there tend to be indoor systems in the past, and this is not the case with this. This is a greenhouse-based system, which makes it interesting. So it's a proof of concept trial at the moment. So it's not massive, but it is still, it's a 26-acre glasshouse. I think most of the strawberries are grown conventionally within that glasshouse, and I think they grow other crops as well. So they've run it for 12 months and supported over 6,000 plants in the system. So yeah, it must have been, what did I say, 1.2 million strawberry plants? Maybe that's in the whole greenhouse. Other technology that's in there, they've got robot pickers using AI vision to identify ripe berries. That's a big area. When I went to Green Tech a couple of weeks ago, a few companies looking at AI to see when crops are ready for harvest and identify any problems. They've got UV robots that basically robot's a strong word. They're basically a UVC unit that basically flies down the rows of the greenhouse and expose the plants at night to UVC to reduce the risk of mold, particularly mildew and grey mold. Grey mold's a massive one on the fruits. They've got an anaerobic digester on site to convert plant waste into biogas, powering the greenhouse and generating heat. And they've got rainwater capture as well. So that's another thing there. So when it comes to sustainability and commercial benefits, higher output per unit area, obviously, extended harvest season, getting those strawberries ready for Christmas and other holiday seasons, lower pesticide use with the use of the UVC, circular energy system with the anaerobic digester, and potential to scale it into other crops as well. So it doesn't have to be strawberries. It could be other things like wasabi, other high value crops that grow well in NFT systems. So yeah, that's the Ferris wheel system. It'd be really interesting to know how the fertigation solution travels along the gullies. Is it going into all the plants all the time, or is it only going into the row that's at the bottom of the wheel? A bit like, when you get onto a Ferris wheel, is it going on there at the bottom and then draining when it's around the wheel? So if anyone from Dyson Farming wants to get in touch and wants to allow me to come on a tour of your facilities, that would make my year, really, going on a tour of the Dyson facilities. I don't know anyone at Dyson Farming. There's a guy called Angel who's at Dyson Farming. I saw him at Green Tech actually 2 weeks ago, but I didn't say hello. He was passing me one of the aisles. So yeah, if you work for Dyson Farming, you know anyone who works for Dyson Farming, tell them that Dr. Russell Sharp from Hydroponics Daily would love to come on a tour. Good to meet James Dyson as well. Yeah, and if you want any fertilizers, let me know, or biostimulants. That's been Hydroponics Daily for today. If you've ever grown plants on a Ferris wheel type system, then that's pretty amazing. And if you know anyone who has, share this podcast episode with them. And if you've had this shared with you, then you owe the person who shared it with you a nice cold drink. So get down the pub and take your friend with you. And if you could do me a favor as well, if you could screenshot your phone, if you're listening to this on a phone, screenshot the fact that you've listened to this podcast and post it on social media and say, this was a really interesting episode. Go and listen to Hydroponics Daily, because then that would help share and grow the podcast. And that would mean the world to me. Thank you very much for listening. And until tomorrow, goodbye.